Okay, hi, Paul Stackis, Good News Planet. I'm speaking here to Kris Holmes. Hi, Kris, how are you?
I am good, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. And, I like that cover of this book right behind you. And
Thank
oh, there's
you.
another one over here. And so I like that little lightish blue, at least with the world of Zoom, it looks light blue, like a turquoise color. Is that right?
That is exactly right. And we went with that color because we felt like it was young and fresh and kind of caught your eye.
And I think with the scenario that we're going to discuss and the book that you've written and have so much experience to be able to write this, ignite your career, and with a desire to help those that are figuring out what is their career, I
Yeah.
guess. And I think that is a good thing. And I think it's not only from what I see here, it's not only for those that are maybe getting out of school, but maybe some focus on that. But I think I have a lot to gain from it myself at a later point in your life. And in essence,
Yeah.
I'm actually even doing that right now at 71. I'm saying, I've done this and that. And so maybe those basics are a good way for me to even reevaluate my career and so on, or delve deeper into it. But you tell me, because you're wiser than me in this regard, I'm sure.
Oh, well, and I think you are absolutely right, Paul. I mean, this is a book, we targeted students, young professionals, career changers, but the information in this book is so powerful and so relevant for anybody, anytime in their career. Yeah, it really is. And I have had people who are coming out of college read it and say, wow. And then I've had people who are 20 years into their career and not really happy and read the exact same book and say, that's why this job isn't a good fit and I haven't loved it. I need to course correct.
Is it so that there are that many unhappy people in their jobs? I hear these statistics and I say, I mean, I was a lucky ducky, I think, after 40 plus years. I went into communications. I went into show business instead of shoe business. My family was, even though now I'm thinking of going back into shoe business. But are there that many unhappy people at work? And is it unhappy for what they're doing? Or is it unhappy because of who they're doing it with?
I think it's a great question. First of all, I do have to tell you, my dad was in the shoe business.
Oh, good.
Samuel's Shoe Company owned Buster Brown, and then they were sold to Brown Shoe. Yeah.
Yes, I know that. I know that.
Yes.
I know Buster Brown. And wow.
So anyway, for your question, are there that many people? There really are. And it's unfortunate. I, like you, I was in marketing for a decade and I was fine, great at some things, and others were a grind and a struggle. And it wasn't until I inadvertently shifted into recruiting that my job became easy and fun and natural, and I was a superstar. And it's because it aligned with my strengths. And where a lot of people are today is they're working in jobs that they've built up a skill set that don't align with their strengths, but because of economic situations and responsibilities, they're afraid to do a course correct and shift, which I understand. But I'm a big believer in figure out your strengths and where they can lead you to success, and you will follow the same path I did. You will be happy and successful. You also did mention something about who they work for. I think the culture of the company and who their boss is does have a huge impact on happiness as well. And I cannot, I can't discount that at all. So it's kind of the 1-2 punch. You find somebody you love working for that aligns with your strengths, and you are going to soar.
So what's step one? Get the book and spend some time looking at it with a mirror back at you.
Yeah. And I think step one is, first of all, to realize something's not right. That, and maybe it's not broken, but it's not right. I do think the book is hugely beneficial. It's so easy to read. But it really also, throughout the book, I keep on telling you, I can give you the guidelines, I can give you the suggestions, but I can't do the work for you. So it's kind of like when you want to go on a diet. You can sign up for Weight Watchers or all these different things, but unless you're committed and willing to work, it's not going to get you anywhere. So that's first thing is Are you happy? Are you not? Second, are you willing to do the work? Third, get the information. And I do think the book is beneficial. And the starting point is figure out your strengths. And the book talks about multiple ways to do that. Two that I think are really good. One is talk to friends and family. They know you the best and just ask them, what do you think I'm great at? And another way is there are assessments out there. There are two that I love. One is Strengths Finders, and that asks you to tell them, rank from here to here, what do you like doing better? So it's your assumptions. The other one is one called Use Science that has you play 9 computer games and maps out how your brain works. Both of them help you identify your strengths and where you can take them. And that's a great starting point.
Are they mentioned in your book? Or are you?
They are mentioned in my book.
All
Yes.
righty, great. All
Yeah.
right. So you're giving some. It's sort of like I sense, and I think this is a good. I want to call it a guide, or a Bible, or a way to
Yeah.
to focus in. And I think. Even with me, I did an interview with somebody that's a counselor, and
Yeah.
and at this point, I said, "Would you mind? Can we take a moment with me?" So, I believe in speaking with people, and I believe in doing your best not to keep it in yourself, in your own brain, because when you say the words and you do something actionable. You actually have, I think, a greater opportunity to grow. What do you think?
Oh, I think you're right. I think we all have voices in our head and assumptions we make. And if you don't put them out there and have somebody push back to kind of open up your thinking, then you're going to be like a dog chasing its tail.
Aha.
So I agree with you completely.
Well, how about the idea? Some people have told me, get a piece of paper and put the pluses on one side and the minuses on another. What do you think about that, or is there any thoughts in that regard?
Well, you know what? It's actually one of the suggestions that I have in the book, and one of the things that I did when I was assessing, do I want to go to recruiting? And what I did is I took out one piece of paper and wrote all the things I loved doing that got me excited to get out of bed. And then on the other piece of paper, I wrote down all the things that I hated doing, that literally I'd run when I saw somebody coming.
You stay in bed.
Yeah, or stay in bed. Seriously, call in sick. And then hone it down to the top 5 or 10 of each. And as I say to people, that may not assess your strengths as much, but it'll be your North Star on what do you love doing and what do you not love doing. And as you're looking for another job, you want a lot more of those loves. And so that's a North Star that way.
Great. What are some of the other ways to proceed? So, I mean, I will say, since we are doing this beginning of December in a very difficult scenario for everybody, and our virtual educational approach, and not really knowing, I guess, so we'll talk like now, okay?
Yeah.
Hour now.
Yeah.
What do we do now? When there's a crisis.
Yeah.
Kids have paid a lot of money to go to school, and let's talk about them, all right? Because that's a whole big. I have a lot of interns, and
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, the intern scenario for me has become easier than ever. I mean, I got Zoom teaching them how to do production and editing and everything, and they're not coming all to the office, and I think it's almost easier for you. So,
Right.
For them. What's some thoughts in regard to life now and in careers?
No, I think that's a great point. And what I tell everybody, both people I counsel through my recruiting firm, but also people who come for complete coaching to our services, is first of all, everybody needs to take a deep breath. We are all living through this, and everybody knows this pandemic has rocked us to the core. Kids who had internships got canceled. So what I have said to people, both my marketing folks and as well as the students, is figure out how to be productive. Figure out how to continue to learn. So it may be taking classes or listening to a bunch of podcasts on areas you're interested to. It may be talking to friends and family in your industry saying, I'm looking for an internship. I'm not looking to be paid. I'm looking for experience. It may be giving back in some ways. And I'll give you an example. A family friend of mine had her internship canceled. And I walked with her mom and she was telling me about it. And this girl is very much into fashion, but also business. And I was cleaning out my closets. You know, at the beginning of the pandemic, we were all trying to be productive somehow.
Uh-huh.
And there was no place to donate it to. So I said, this girl, Maya, should figure out a way to do something with all this clothing. And so she did. She initiated a clothing drive for business professional for women. She found this wonderful organization to donate it to. And on her resume, it looks amazing. It shows initiative, creativity, project management, leadership. So you can come up with your own projects. You know, people want to see you're adding value and that you're not just staying in bed, mourning what could have been, that you're creating something out of these challenging times.
Yeah, I love that. I tell my grandkids when they do these school projects that what is DNA. It comes up with like a Lego set of DNA. I said, holy man, how did you do that? I said, my daughter knows. Take photographs, put that into a folder
Right.
for a later turn, because I think that those kinds of things maybe become. Well, you tell me, do they become your almost a little bit of your proof of the proof of concept,
Yeah.
in the world of business? They say, well, give me some proof that is that a good handle for a regular person?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. And I think the beauty is oftentimes resumes are, people are looking at them online and you can have a live link to your project.
Uh-huh.
So I think they certainly can be. And I think people are looking for people creative, resourceful, agile, and positive during these challenging times.
So like when you make let's give you one more. I mean, each one of these
Yeah.
could take a long time, but just on the surface, and people will get your book and look into your, background and give you a holler or whatever, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes with these resumes, okay, um, is it wise to put down as many, so now you make one. I did this DNA project. I did this master's thesis on XYZ. I did on the Beatles. All right. So
Mm,
I say I'm going for a job in communications or in the
sure.
media business. I did the Beatles, movie I made or whatever I did.
Right.
Is that good to put on the top of a resume, or do you have to be very formalized? Do you take a chance when you put down your activities? How do you go about? What do you suggest?
Well, first of all, taking a step back, Paul,
Okay.
I just dealt with this recently because I was dealing with a college student who signed up for a resume writing, and
Oh,
her career center had told her, because she was in marketing, that her resume had to be creative and look different. And I truthfully called BS on that because I don't believe that at all. I think resumes should be clean and clear and concise and compelling. It's kind of like, I think people read resumes like a newspaper. There's the body copy. Where'd you go to school? Where'd you work? What were your titles? And then there is the information, the story itself. And they've got to get hooked in by the body copy. So I am not a believer in fancy resumes. I'm a believer in resumes that articulate who you are, what you've done, how you add value. Now, to your point, should those things be in there? Absolutely. Under your education, a bullet point about, master's thesis on the Beatles. And I also do like having a line on interests, because you might have an interest in common with somebody you're interviewing with. And that is a great thought starter and connector. So
uh-huh,
those are just my top line
uh-huh.
on resumes. I do think all those should be in there, but in the right way.
Okay, all right. Well, I like that. I know that when I was with Channel 13, the PBS station, Channel 13
Sure.
here in New York, and I was the business manager. And so at that time, and starting commercializations of PBS. And I hired, this woman came in, Midge Woolsey, and Midge had on her resume, just because I'm a musician, I like it, and she said, opera singer. I said, opera singer? And brought, I said, that's all. I went right there. I said, I ended up hiring her. She became the voice of the PBS. And so I don't know, for me, I like that kind of type of person, because I think that those skills to become an opera singer are not so easy. And
Right.
so she must be able to have a lot of control and a lot of determination to go
And dedication.
and dedication.
Yep.
So for helping me in the business sense, she probably can straighten me out and help me.
And that's what we're all looking for, somebody to complete you, somebody who will balance your weaknesses and take you to the next level.
This is great. Let me ask you one last question. I
Yeah.
could talk much longer. I like that. Us shoe people, So we're involved with the International Day of Peace, World Peace Day, which is part of the United Nations on September 21st. And we do concerts in Central Park and Times Square and so on and so forth.
Right.
And I ask a lot of people, and I think it applies to what we're talking about here, because what is peace for you, Kris? What makes life peaceful for you?
Oh, that's a great question, Paul. I think it's where there aren't barriers and people can be themselves and be appreciated, and be valued. So, okay, I'll throw something personal out. Religion has always been an interesting one for me, because I've always seen religion, while I believe in God and the values, it feels like it always puts barriers and separates people versus necessarily bringing them together. And peace is when people have their beliefs, but those walls are not up, they're down, and people can intermingle based on values and just who the people are and the value they bring versus what they believe. So that's
beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you very much. Your website, or how do people reach you?
Yeah, so if folks go to IgniteYourCareerBook.com, there they can purchase a book. And then we also are offering services such as resume writing, as I mentioned, interview prep, negotiation, and complete coaching for somebody who really wants us to work with them to figure out what their strengths are, where that might lead them, and then how to get there.
All right. And we need that. And it's great to have somebody that knows what they're talking about.
I appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you.
Nice meeting with you too, Kris.